Hi, I'm Tim and this is Timberway Designs. In this video series I take a rock or a slab and I make a cabochon from the rough all the way to the finished shiny cab, the way I make them. So this week, got a piece of Stromatolite, if I'm saying that correctly. Let's make a cabochon. So this week's cabochon is going to be made out of a piece of Stromatolite I ordered from Highland Park Lapidary. Got 3 chunks and they kind of look like this on the outside, so I'm thinking, oh man, but then you cut them open, they're really pretty on the inside, so not a problem there. And if you're interested in looking at the rocks at Highland Park Lapidary, I'll put a link down below in the description. So I'm looking at this piece here, and it's got, you can see there's a fracture right across here. Let's get it wet so you can see what it looks like. Real pretty, lots of detail. Actually, there's a fortification right there. I think this is the piece I'm going to use. Definitely thick enough. Dry it off here. We'll put the pattern on it. So I'm going to try to avoid the fracture, which is around the bottom here. Because of that, I selected a cushion, my rounded cushion. Now, if you're interested, I make these templates here. They're always the same size, one pattern per template. I think I got 26 different templates now, and they're on my Etsy store. And that link is in the description down below if you want to check that out. So today I'm going to go with the 1 1/8 inch. Thinking right about there. Use ultra-fine Sharpie for this. There. So we'll go downstairs, we'll trim this out, and then we'll make cabochon out of it. So I'll see you downstairs. All right, today we're on my 2-auto 8-inch trim saw. I did a video on this, intro video. If you want to see that, I'll put that up on top, up here someplace. So let's get started here. Turn it on. All right, trim this out. All right, we're all trimmed out here. Let's move over to the cabber. We're on our Kingly North 6-inch cabber here. I got my shape kind of roughed out on the trim saw. Now I'm going to grind it down to the line. I'm going to start with the 80 grit, move over to 220 grit, and then smooth it up with the 280 grit. And then we'll put it on a stick, and then we'll make cabochon out of it. So let's get started. Alright, let's knock the chunk out of there. Got too close with the 80 grit. Let's decide what I'm going to do here. I just keep on going. I can probably keep on going, just shorten it up a little bit. Let's do that. Alright, let's move on to the 280 grit. Alright, like I always say, you're dealing with the radius here. So when you're on these 2 hard wheels, don't stop or it'll grind a flat spot in. Once you get a flat spot in there, you're going to have to take them out of these 2 wheels. You'll never get it out in this one. Well, I shouldn't say never, but it'll be very, very, very difficult. Well, let's see how we did on our little repair down here. Don't look too bad. There's just a little tiny chip right there, but I ain't worried about that. And a little bit more off the top. Alright, that's looking pretty good. Let's move over to the 280 grit, the 220 grit here. Cool. Gonna take this, put it on dot pot, heat it up. We'll glue a stick on there. We'll show you. I'll show you that when we get done there. And then, like I said, we'll go through the process, make cabochon out of it. So let's get her on the dot pot. All right, we're back and all dopped up here. Basically, all I'm doing is I'm gluing a dowel to the bottom of this cab with some lapidary wax right here. So what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna grind in what's called a girdle. That's going to be about an 1/8 inch to 2 millimeters up from the bottom here, all the way around the cab. And once I establish that, then I'll start grinding my way towards the center. And then after that, we'll start doming it. So let's get started. We'll start with the 80 grit. Then we'll work our way to the 220 grit. And then finally to the 280 grit and then to the polishing side. All right, we have established our girdle here. You can kind of see a flat spot going all the way around the cab right there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go work our way towards the center and start on this top edge here and kind of start grinding in. Now stay away from your girdle because you established that. You don't want to be cutting into that anymore. All right, we're getting kind of close to the top here. Now, this is a little thicker than I'd like, so we're going to have to reduce the crown up here, and then we'll start doming it. All right, looking good. I'm going to start doming it. I might make it just a little thinner, though. All right, kind of like the height there. We're going to move on to the 220 grit. Looking pretty good there. We're going to break the edges. So basically what I'm doing there is I'm just cutting the edge. Where this came up right here, I'm just cutting the edge on the 220 grit. And I'm not coming all the way down the side of the cab. I'm just killing this edge right here. So let's move on to 280 grit. Alright, let's move over to the polishing side, see what we can do with this. Alright, we're on the polishing side. I got a 600, a 1200, 3000, and a cerium oxide disc around the corner. So let's start with the 600. Alright, move over to 1200. And finally to 3000. What we got going here? I'm not going to show you until we get done with the cerium oxide. So we're going to move the camera around to there. So this is a cerium oxide disc that mounts on the end of the shaft of this cabbing machine here. Pre-impregnated with cerium oxide. When it wears out, you just peel it off. It got to use a little heat, and then you just slap another one on there. I like it because it's not messy and it works pretty good. So let's see what we can do with this cab. All right, let's see how we did. Little pant leg here. Little sweatshirt. There we go. Look at that. Ain't that pretty? So I'm going to take this upstairs, throw it in the freezer, get it off the stick, and finish up the back, and then we'll take a close look at it. All right, we're back upstairs. Got a nice clean break off the stick here. Let's take a look at this cabochon. Look at that. Really good shine. Nice pattern. Just had that one little incident there where I lost a chunk on the bottom or whatever once, and it kind of recovered from that. I think it looks okay. Yeah, look, and there's little fortifications in there, all kinds of neat stuff. So I should probably make a sign on the back here. Yeah, this will end up on Etsy someday, and hopefully it will soon. But yeah, I'm kind of liking this. I'll have to make some more of this. So so got this rock from Highland Park Lapidary, and like I said, I'll put their site down in the description below if you want to check it out. They got quite a good selection of rocks. So there you go, Stromatolite. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching me take a big chunk of this and make a pretty cabochon from this to this. So next week, we're going to do another chunk of penalite here that Highland Park just sent me out of the blue, because you know, I had that other piece that didn't quite, this is what I really wanted, what it looked like here, and they were kind enough to send me a chunk. So we're going to make another cabochon out of this and see how well I can do. So this video comes out every Saturday, and I got another video where I cut rocks in half and I make 10 cabochons out of that, and that comes out every Wednesday, so check that out. I'd like to thank the subscribers out there. Like I said, the numbers keep climbing. I like it a lot. It helps me out a lot. And all you viewers out there, I really appreciate you watching. If you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. Button down below, absolutely free. Slide over, give me a thumbs up, all of you, and gives me analytics out there so more people can find this content. Hyperlink it on your phone, share it, and push that bell button so you get notifications when these videos come out. I'm going to put a playlist up for this series of videos here, so you don't have to go hunting all over the place for them, and that'll go someplace up here, and then I'll just let YouTube put a video up of their choosing. So appreciate you watching, I really do. That's all I got, and I'll catch you later.